There is a financial mistake so common, so seemingly harmless, that millions of people make it every single month without even realizing it. It's not a massive mistake like buying a house you can't afford. It's not about investing in something risky. In fact, it feels too small to be dangerous. We're talking about something around $100, just 100. For many people, that feels insignificant over the course of an entire month of work. But here's the strange part. Over decades, this small, silent mistake creates a massive gap between two completely different financial lives. While some people manage to build stability, invest, and accumulate wealth, others remain stuck in an invisible cycle where money simply disappears. And the most interesting part is that this mistake isn't just about math. It has far more to do with behavior, perception, and the way the human brain reacts to small, repeated decisions. Imagine two people who start their adult lives in almost exactly the same way. Same salary, same opportunities, and the same cost of living. During the first few years, neither of them seems far ahead of the other financially. Both pay their bills, buy things they enjoy, and try to make the most of life. But there's a small detail that slowly begins to separate them. One of these people has the habit of treating small amounts of money as irrelevant. Whenever a $100 expense appears here or there, they think it's not worth worrying about something so minor. An unplanned dinner, an impulsive purchase, a small weekend luxury. None of it seems serious on its own. However, this behavior creates an invisible pattern. Gradually, these small expenses stop being exceptions and become part of everyday life. Without realizing it, this person starts normalizing financial decisions that constantly drain small amounts of money. Now imagine the second person. They also face temptations, they also feel the urge to spend, and they also work hard every month. But there's a subtle difference in how they view small amounts of money. To them, $100 isn't just an expense, it's a decision. Every time the opportunity to spend that amount comes up, they ask themselves a simple question: is this building something or just disappearing? This question may seem small, but it completely changes how the brain reacts to money. Instead of spending automatically, this person begins to develop financial awareness. And interestingly, that awareness starts to influence other, bigger decisions over time. There's a curious psychological phenomenon called financial adaptation. It describes how the human brain quickly gets used to any pattern of behavior related to money. When someone spends $100 impulsively over and over again, the brain starts to see that behavior as normal. It no longer feels like a decision, it simply feels like part of the routine. And when this pattern repeats for years, it creates something extremely dangerous, a financial life built around constant small leaks. Each one seems insignificant on its own, but together they form something much bigger. It's like a boat with several tiny holes. None of them seem large enough to sink the vessel, until, slowly, the water starts to rise. Now let's look at the other side of this behavior. When someone develops the habit of questioning small expenses, something interesting happens. The brain begins to rewire its perception of value. That $100 no longer feels like just a moment of immediate pleasure. It starts to represent future possibilities. Maybe it can be directed toward investments, learning, building an emergency fund, or even unexpected opportunities that arise over time. And over the years, this shift in mindset creates something very powerful, a different financial identity. The person begins to see themselves as someone who builds wealth gradually, rather than someone who simply reacts to momentary impulses. Here's the most intriguing part of this story. Most people believe that financial struggle exists only because of a lack of income. And while income does matter, countless studies on financial behavior reveal something surprising. People with very similar incomes often end up in completely different financial positions over time. The difference rarely comes from a single major event. Most of the time, it comes from the accumulation of hundreds of small, seemingly insignificant decisions, and many of those decisions revolve around modest amounts, like $100. As the years go by, these patterns begin to accumulate in invisible ways. Those who spend small amounts impulsively create a lifestyle where money always seems to run out at the end of the month. Meanwhile, those who learn to control these small impulses start building something quiet, stability. It doesn't happen quickly, it doesn't look dramatic, and often no one notices at first. But as time passes, the effect of these decisions begins to multiply. Small amounts directed with intention start to grow, opportunities begin to appear, and financial life starts to move in a different direction. Perhaps the most surprising aspect of all this is that this $100 mistake is rarely noticed while it's happening. It doesn't trigger alarms, it doesn't create immediate crises, and it doesn't seem dangerous in the moment. It's precisely this harmless appearance that makes it so powerful. It hides within daily routines, mixed in with habits that seem normal to millions of people. But when someone finally decides to pay attention to this pattern, something interesting happens. They realize they don't need to change everything at once. They just need to start observing small decisions more consciously. And maybe that's exactly where transformation begins. Not in grand promises of instant wealth, nor in radical overnight changes, but in the ability to see what once went unnoticed. Small expenses, small choices, small moments where money can take two very different paths. Because in the end, the difference between staying stuck in financial struggle and beginning to build prosperity rarely comes from one massive decision. Most of the time, it's born from something far more subtle, a seemingly small choice that repeats itself quietly over the course of a lifetime.